This is Forge Daily with Mackenzie Barwell on the Forge Audio Network.
Forge fans, welcome back. Today is July 20th, 2023. I'm your host, Mackenzie Barwell, here to give you all things Forge FC. As I mentioned yesterday, the team left for BC and are currently practicing there now. However, we were able to get a hold of Coach Bobby for the pre-match press conference, so we'll get to his comments a little later. But first, let's have a look at Pacific FC's performances as of late. They've been holding that first place spot in the CPL standings for quite some time now. They currently hold a record of 7 wins, 5 draws, and 3 losses. This is a must-win game for Forge. That's all that needs to be said. Pacific are 3 points ahead with 26 and 1 less game played, so there's an opportunity for Forge to level the playing field here. Pacific are coming off a tie against York United and only 1 win in their last 5 games, so they haven't necessarily been on the greatest run of form, but as Coach Bobby Smirniotis often says, that doesn't indicate that they aren't playing good football. They're tied for fewest goals allowed with 15, while scoring the most and leading the vast majority of those underlying statistics in both of those categories. With regards to potentially threatening players, new signing Eamon Salouf is in the conversation for Player of the Year. He was also June's Player of the Month after scoring in some pretty clutch moments for Pacific. He currently leads the team in assists. Midfielder Sean Young is someone I've talked about before. He's having a breakout season. He's got 3 goals on the season thus far. Tomorrow's game is the first of 5 remaining regular season home matches for Pacific, so most of the second half, the 2023 season for them will be on the road, and it'll be interesting to see if that plays a factor in some of the future results. Bobby talked a little bit more about where he sees Pacific being successful tomorrow and certain players and situations that could pose a threat.
But they're a team that, I think after the first 6 or 7 games, they've become a very resilient team, a team that's changed a little bit the way they play. They're much more defensively compact, not giving space, and that's also taken away a little bit from their offensive fluidity that maybe we saw earlier, and focusing a little bit more on getting the results as opposed to having a random match. And I think that makes them a difficult opponent. So I think they have the individuals, guys like Didic, who are very good on the set pieces, and obviously Aparicio is a very important player for them in their movement in the midfield. But I think their biggest asset is they've become a much better structural team, as we've seen. Maybe the results haven't been their way in the last few ones. That doesn't mean they're not playing good football, because you always look at that. You can't get fooled by the results and where those are, but they're a quality team with quality players.
Now, we all know how close these two teams are in the standings, not only in this season, but since the league started. And Bobby talked about how impactful this result will be going into the playoffs.
This is an important match for both teams. Everything's very tight in the standings, as we've seen throughout the season, ups and downs of all the teams in the league, which makes these ones right now very important 3-point swings. It's a place we've traditionally had a very good record coming and playing. It's a unique place to play, a little bit of a smaller field, more congested. You end up seeing a little bit more battles on the pitch. We have to take our chances a little bit better around the goal. But this is each game provides a unique opportunity, and this one, with Pacific not having the best form as of late, has created things to be tight again in the race, and this gives us an opportunity to possibly go at the top of the table. But that's really not the most important thing, as we've talked about, David. Where you are in the table at this point, it's about those 3 points are vital for us at this stage of the season. So we know it's going to be a tough match. It's always a good match with Pacific, and we just have to go out and execute the same way we've done in the last couple of weeks, and you just got to keep on doing that. We base ourselves on playing a game that's difficult, that takes a lot of attention, to detail. And I think if we keep our details right, then we can have success.
In other news, as of today, the Canadian Premier League announced what's called the Exceptional Young Talent roster subcategory. It adds 2 roster spots for under 18 domestic players outside of the normal 23-man primary roster. So for Forge FC midfielder Khadim Kane, He's now designated exceptional young talent and will take up one of these 2 places assigned to this subcategory, opening up one of Forge FC's 23 primary roster spots. So they currently have 21 out of 23 filled. 18-year-old Khadim Kane has now played just over 270 minutes in 7 appearances for Forge FC since signing this year. Bobby also gave his thoughts on the announcement today. Here's what he had to say at the pre-match press conference.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent initiative by the league. You can always use a little bit more depth in the roster. By doing this, I think there's a lot more emphasis on finding those, let's call them 16 to 18-year-olds, and really working on their next steps of development and maximizing their potential. We've seen it with Khadim this year, who's coming as a 17-year-old from mostly a youth environment before, and we've seen his growth, and it's been absolutely fantastic. And he's a player with a bright future. And for us that have a big commitment to bringing players up through an organized system, I think this is fantastic. Gives you some more roster spots, but most importantly, it allows us really to work on a daily basis with some high potential young players.
And lastly, a big happy birthday to Noah Jensen, who turns 24 today. Hopefully Forge can grab the 3 points tomorrow as a late birthday gift for Noah. Thank you all so much for listening, and be sure to tune into One Soccer tomorrow night at 10 p.m. to watch your Forge FC take on Pacific. Have a fantastic weekend, and we will catch up again on Monday.
This has been Forge Daily with Mackenzie Barwell. If you like what you heard, please like, follow, subscribe, comment, and share.